Trump comes out and drops huge bombshells, some making waves bombshells just the last few days. I think we've been so entangled in all this, Super Bowl talk and all that kind of garbage. And I think with all the other stuff going on, sometimes we forget some of the most important things that some of these guys say. And when they say this, they're on their campaign trail. Do we believe it? Do we not believe it? All that plays into it. But there's 3 things he said that I think most Americans, no matter if you're on the right or left, would say, that makes perfect sense. Things that we've already been thinking. Let's jump into it today. This video starts right now. Hey guys, welcome to the Max. Thank you so very much for being here today. If you're new to the channel, go down here, press subscribe, ring the bell, give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down, that's okay, but let us know what you think about this content. Our goal is to grow our channel to a point where it brings, of course, common sense, thought-provoking commentary so we can grow together, be really more wise as we walk through this crazy world. Hopefully the things that we talk about benefits you and your family. And again, I humbly thank you for spending your few moments with me today. Now let's jump into the topic of the day. Trump is dropping bombs, and I think they are huge. And also a little bit more speculation on his VP. We can't be stupid no longer. Of course, that's what he said. And this is something that, again, most Americans probably thought was already happening. And to be honest with you, something that us on the conservative and libertarian side has been saying, why are we not doing this? We've been talking about this for years. And I think this would help us not give so much foreign aid away, but also have it as an investment and not a complete loss. And I'm going to jump into it a little bit more and my thoughts on it. It says, Trump says no more foreign aid without guarantees, meaning we're not just going to give money to countries just for the heck of it. Now, you would think that that makes perfect sense. Why give all this money away and them not pay it back? I think it should be just like anything else. If we are giving money, this is our money, so the borrower is slave to the lender. Not that I want any country just doing what we say is beck and call. However, if we're giving hundreds of billions of dollars to Ukraine, I think they should have to repay it. I think if we're giving $10 billion to this country, I think they should have to repay it. I think if we're giving $5 billion to this country, I think they should have to repay it with interest, because then that way we're making money on our money. That makes perfect sense. That's an investment mentality, especially when we're giving money away with no contingencies. We don't know where it's going, to be honest with you, it's being laundered. But then we have no money and we're not making money on our money. We're just losing money, printing more, and then going off in the abyss, and America is just losing its way. There's no reason that we give money away. Now, what this would do is this would make foreign aid harder to get, because most people would say, I don't know if I want all that money, and all of a sudden I owe, $50 billion back to the U.S. when we're already struggling, and we have to give it back at 10 or 15 or 20% or 5%, whatever the going rate is at that time. But what it would do is it would make people say, I'm skeptical of taking extra money. Well, that benefits us as the taxpayers. We can keep our money. Now, the politicians wouldn't like this, because the politicians give free money away all the time because they know they're going to get kickbacks back from the lobbying groups, from the big industrial complexes that are all in our nation. To me, it's so illegal for what's happening with lobbyists. I think it's a complete and utter illegal scheme for the money they send over there and the kickbacks they get back from the defense or the medical or whatever it may be. But this would help the American people to say, well, my tax dollars, if we are sending them to all these countries, XYZ, Taiwan, China, Russia, Ukraine, whatever country you want to put on there, whatever they're doing, just like when they buy our goods and services, they would be borrowing this money, and this would not be a gift. We loan it to them, because that way they have to pay it back with interest, so we're making money on our money. This is not rocket science. Why have we not been doing this? This is something, again, people on the conservative side have been saying, why not? If we're going to give $60 billion, it better be $60 billion coming back over 10 years with 5 or 10% interest. That way we're making money and it's benefiting our industry, our manufacturing, our people. It's coming back to America in the form of interest and the money that they borrowed. Also, the fact if they owe us money, then we hold a lien. We hold rights over some things, just like anything else. If you go to the bank and you want a vehicle, they're going to take a lien on your title. If you have a house or mortgage, they're going to take a lien on your house. That's how it works. That's how it should work in the government too. No matter if you add a few zeros to the bottom line, it needs to be where they have a check and balance, to where if they don't pay, they have repercussions to cover. Most of the time, they're going to find a way to pay, and therefore our investment is backed. Another huge thing, and he said this back in 2016, and this made a huge difference, is the NATO situation. He's saying, I'm sick and tired of us funding all of NATO and being the quote-unquote main player. Well, if you're not going to contribute to NATO, then therefore we're not just going to be your protector always. I think it's like anything else. If I want security, I have to pay for that security. They're not just going to, just for the heck of it, just come sit at my house and watch over my home. They're not going to do that. That would be stupid. So I love the fact that Trump said, stupid no more. Now, he made a comment that a lot of people, it went viral, saying that he would just let Russia run all over Europe. That's not what he was saying. What he was saying is, if you don't pay your fair share, why is it my job to come in there and fix your trash? And the fact that you were not paying for the extra security, you were not participating in the NATO, you were not giving to cover all the expenses. Why is America having to foot all these bills, but you want our protection? It's just like the mentality of what we have in America, where you don't work and you're supposed to get paid for it. You don't work and the government's supposed to take care of you. It doesn't work like that. You work, you get paid. You contribute, you get the security. You get covered, you're okay. We would have a better outlook on giving money to countries because it would be loaned instead of giving. We would have a better outlook on supporting NATO's ventures because everybody's contributing. So if there's a problem in a defiant country is going into a NATO country, if everybody's giving, everybody's paying in their fair share, therefore it doesn't look bad on us to support our NATO brothers and sisters. You see that? These are two common sense approaches that just make sense. Most people would say, wow, that's a pretty good idea. If you would have said this, if that same comment was out and it was from Obama or Schumer and said those same things, which they're not going to say that because they're absolutely ludicrous, but if they said what Trump just said, most people would be like, oh my gosh, that is the most brilliant thing we've ever heard. Mainstream media would run breaking news thinking that is the best idea possible. But from Trump's mouth, it becomes, oh, that's rhetoric, that's stupid, that's overwhelmingly a bad idea. Trump, remember, did not get us in extra wars and did not cause volatility across the world like the Democratic counterparts did before and after him. These two policies would be excellent. And he also talked about the anthems. You know, I don't watch football anymore. I don't watch any sports. You're supporting sports. You do realize that they signed major initiatives. Every major sports organization other than UFC signed letters sending to congressmen urging them for your Second Amendment rights to be taken away. You do realize that. So you're supporting that. You're supporting your liberties and freedoms being taken away. But I digress. But he also brought up the fact of the two anthem situation. We are supposed to be one nation under God. We are supposed to be one nation, one America, made up of a lot of states, made up of a lot of people, but ultimately we have one goal, is to be free and have liberties and justice for all Americans. And instead we want to have a polarizing way of putting two national anthems on television for a major sporting event. Now, I challenge you to stay away from sports. I don't think there's anything good out of it anymore, because it used to be where people could just play and enjoy. Now it's all political sobs. But what I'm saying is, it makes perfect sense. Why do we have two national anthems? That makes absolutely no sense. We're in an upside down world where men think they're women and women think they're men. So I understand the lostness of America. And I understand the fact that, you know, we've lost our way. But when you hear Trump say stuff like this is stuff that most people would just believe, no matter whose mouth it came out of. You loan money instead of you giving it away to bigger countries. Again, this is not your sister or your brother that needs a little extra funds. You know, if you're in a situation like that and you want to help someone like that, okay, that's different. But you're not just going to work hard for your money and then go give it to the stranger down the road. All your money. I'm not talking about giving a homeless guy a little money. I'm talking about if you took your whole paycheck and just gave it to someone, and then you borrowed money and then just gave it to someone. Do you think that's wise? No. We would loan it to them. The bank loans it to us. The government should loan it to other governments across the world, and we make money on our investments. That money comes back home. We can utilize it to help our people. Secondly, again, if you're not contributing to NATO, why should I protect you? That's a good comment. That's common sense. We are not supposed to police the world, and especially for free. So again, if you're contributing to NATO, I believe we should stand next to you. If you're not contributing, then why are we there? i.e. Ukraine. And then thirdly, we are polarized as a nation. You can say it's Trump's fault, you can say it's Obama's fault, you can say whoever's fault you want to say. But bottom line is we are struggling and we're polarized, and the NFL doing a two-anthem situation, or the NBA, or all these other organizations adding the fuel to the fire, and mainstream media doing the same thing. All it's doing is getting to where it controls you more. I love that Trump said, we don't need this. No other politician has. Think about it. I like the fact that Trump is wanting to step on your toes. That's a good thing. That helps us say, you know what? That makes perfect sense. Or that may say, well, that makes me think a little bit more, and then I have a more decisive answer. Either way, it's good. And then lastly, think about it. He's dropping hints all this time to his VP. He's a marketer. Y'all gotta remember that. When he brings somebody in or does something with them, it's always skepticism of who's gonna be the VP. I love the fact that he was with Vivek the other day. I think that there's been a lot of speculation with Vivek. Honestly, personally, I don't think it's Vivek. I like Vivek, and I wish it was Vivek. But because Vivek is just like Trump, kind of bombastic, he would take some of the spotlight. I don't know if Trump is ready for that yet. I told you, if Vivek is not VP, I wish he'd be Chief of Staff or Secretary of State or Press Secretary, because I think he would dominate either one of those positions. But he's dropping hints, and again, he's spending a lot of times with Vivek, but I believe Vivek is not that guy. Now, I hope I'm wrong, because I actually like Ramaswamy a lot. I've followed him for a long time with his business deals. I think he is, I think he's a thorn in the side of most quote-unquote big business and stock market brokerages that we are against. And I think that's kind of what Trump is. Trump is a thorn in the side to most politicians. So I think they work very good together. I love the speculation. I love the marketing. And everybody's like, oh, I wonder who the VP is going to be. I think it's a good thing. The things we talked about today are all common sense approaches that if anyone said it, if it was just quoted unknown, I believe you'd have 85 to 90% of Americans supporting all these things. Just let's take Trump's name off of it. And if someone would do this, that's a big mainstreamer or someone that's a big influencer, and say, okay, we don't give money to countries unless they pay it back, and we're going to charge interest to it. Unknown quote. Secondly, we're not going to help NATO unless these countries are giving back to NATO and all paying their fair share into the system. Unknown author. And then thirdly, we should not have two national anthems, we should have one. And anyone who supports a polarization of one national anthem should be boycotted. If you said those three things, and it wasn't quoted by Trump, and it was not a bombshell from him, I believe 80 to 85% of the people would agree. 86% of people came out the other day and said Biden's not fit for office. However, he's still getting run by the platform, because that shows that the people are not important to it anymore. It's going to be a decision made by the establishment. I believe that Biden won't run. We talked about that in the video the other day. But if Biden said any of these three things, they'd be smart things to say. But he's not, because it goes against everything that the Democrats believe. So I believe to have someone say this, even on the Republican or Democrat side, because most Republicans still wouldn't say these three things because they're bought and paid for, I think that makes Trump even more likable and even better, because he's saying the things that most Americans believe. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think about this video today. And again, please give us a thumbs up. It does help us stay on the algorithm here at YouTube, and it means the world to me. God bless. Happy homesteading, y'all.